Hey guys, so this is still advanced algebra, and I'm going to call this part 5, even though we did part 2 and then we're going to part 5, um, because it corresponds with example 5 in your textbook. And the other examples we've either done together as a group or we're going to do it in a different way. Um, so for part 5, we're going to kind of go the opposite. So up here, they gave you the function and you had to factor it and find, we call these the zeros. We had to find the solution by finding zeros. So we set each piece equal to 0 and solved for x. And you did 4 questions on your own and asked questions, hopefully, if you needed them. So in part 5, they're going to give you these pieces and ask you to work backwards, okay? And one of the interesting things about this is that um, there's lots of quadratics that would fit this scenario. There's lots of quadratics, multiple quadratics that would have x equals 2 and x equals -1 for a solution, because it could be a negative, it could be a positive, it could be one that has a compression but starts way low. There's lots of different scenarios that it could be. So we're going to find the most simple is what we're going to do. Okay, so here we've got x equals 2. So to work backwards, we're going to write f of x equals, and you could write g of x, h of x, I don't care, but the function is equal to, and then if I work this backwards, this would be x minus 2, because when this was equal to 0, we want it to end up being x equals 2. And here, since it's x equals -1, it would be x plus 1. And then when we solve, it would be backwards. So this is what this would look like. And then if you wanted to double check it, you would say, yeah, if I had x minus 2 equals 0, I would plus 2 plus 2, x equals 2. So see how we kind of worked that backwards there. But we still didn't write this in standard form yet. So we're going to take each term and make sure it's multiplied by each term in the other parenthesis. And one way to remember that some people like to do is FOIL. They multiply the first two, they multiply the outer terms, they multiply the inner terms, and they multiply the last terms. Okay, and if that's a way for you to remember it, then that's great. One way that I remember it is I take the first term and I multiply it by everything in the second parenthesis. So x times x is x squared, x times plus 1 is a plus 1x. So I'm finished with that first term. I'm going to take the second term, -2, and I'm going to multiply it by everything in the parenthesis. -2 times x is going to be a -2x, and -2 times 1 is going to be -2. I'm going to combine like terms. So I get f of x equals x squared minus 1x minus 2. So that is that worked backwards. Okay, I'm going to do one more example for you. Let's see. I'm going to work one more example for you. Let's try -5 and 1. So x equals, x equals 5 and x equals -1. It's an example out of your book. Okay. So a very simple way, I would say g of x or h of x or f of x, whatever I want to call my function, is equal to, I'm going to have x minus 5 times x plus 1. Okay, because I'm taking those roots and I'm sticking them just in the most basic equation that I can, function that I can. I'm going to take this first term and I'm going to multiply it. I have x squared plus x, or plus 1x. And I'm finished with that. It multiplied by everything. And then I'm going to take the second term and I'm going to multiply it by everything. Remember also, you can use FOIL if that acronym helps you. -5 times x is minus 5x. -5 times 1 is minus 5. So I'm going to combine like terms, and I get g of x equals x squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay? And that would be my solution. Whoops, sorry. And that would be my solution. So I'm going to ask you to take a few of these and work them backwards. So on page 82, Okay, page 82. I'm going to ask you to do 15, 16, and 17. And 17 might be a little bit tricky because they use 0. So you're going to end up without a piece of that quadratic, which is okay. Okay, trust yourself on that one. If you have questions, let me know. Okay, thanks, guys.